Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. Good afternoon to Stel from Tottenham Away. Stel, how are we doing? You good?
Yeah, good. I'm over Sunday's Dross weekend performance from Spurs. Enjoyed a bit of Champions League football, so
yes, it's very interesting, isn't it? I'll get to that actually. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Smash the like button on your way in. Be kind. Please subscribe on the road to 20k subs, as you can see. So please subscribe and get your questions in. This show only works if we get questions from you lot. So at the moment, I've got 4 or 5 saved. Get your questions in and we'll go through them one by one. What you were saying there still about the Champions League, I watched PSG Liverpool last night, and just watching the quality of player on show compared to what we watch for us, I don't want to be in Champions League. I genuinely don't. I think we'd play 8, lose 8 the way we're going. But some quality players in that Champions League campaign, aren't there?
It's a great game of football. Liverpool were lucky not to lose the first leg, to be honest with you. PSG completely outplayed them, and PSG were brilliant again. And how many teams have gone to Anfield this year and outplayed Liverpool? I don't know many.
Definitely not us. I can assure you of that. I think we
no,
went
not Spurs. No, not Spurs.
I'll tell you what, though, just quickly before we get on to the questions and Spurs related, I was talking to my chat last night and big up about this. We're trying to see who's got the best midfield in Europe, and I'm not sure that it isn't Vitinha, Neves, and Ruiz of PSG. I think that is a brilliant midfield three: flair, skill, engine, passing, tracking back, getting forward. They give me the Iniesta, Xavi vibes. Not as good, but they give me that ilk of player. Great three.
Yeah, they are good. They are very good. I'm just trying to think of everyone's midfields. Liverpool.
I mean, you've got the likes of Bellingham and Tchouaméni and Camavinga or Valverde.
I know it might not be the technical level, but I do like Joe Linton, Guimaraes, Tonali. I think those three are a good midfield.
I would love that midfield at Spurs.
It's a good midfield. Is it up there? Maybe. Not maybe at the levels of PSG. Yeah, do you know what? It's definitely in the top 3. PSG is definitely the top 3.
Yeah, they got some really good players. And the last thing I'll say is, what a joy it is to watch wingers that actually do winger type stuff when they get the football. None of this cutting in, literally just running at people. I loved it. Really great game last night.
I watched Bournemouth do that on Sunday live in front of me in the stadium. I watched Bournemouth's wide players do wide stuff.
Yeah.
Their wing backs played like wing backs.
I was watching Ezra Doué last night, and we obviously put in a bid for him, didn't we, in the summer? And he surprisingly picked PSG in front of us. And when I watched him play last night, I went, "Yeah, that's why you didn't sign for us." You're too good for Tottenham. Yeah, that's why we don't. Yeah, you're not joining Spurs. Right. Look, let's get to some questions. Please subscribe to Stel if you haven't already. Please subscribe to my channel as well. And by the way, just one last mention. Big up Angus. How you doing? Yeah, I watched Barcelona before. I watched Barcelona absolutely rip Benfica to pieces. And Lamine Yamal, I'm going to say this, is the best 17-year-old I've seen since Lionel Messi. I don't praise people easily. He is phenomenal. Like, he looks ridiculous still. Like, I don't believe he's 17. He's just so good. Did you see his goal and assist yesterday? Yeah,
he's absolute class. He's world class. That's what you call a world class player. And to think he's 10 years away from his peak. Just imagine, right? You peak when you're 28. He's 10 years away from his peak. I also thought Rafinha. Do you know what? Rafinha has been brilliant at Barcelona. We could have got Rafinha, but okay, he went Barca, so you can't blame him. But people that said, nah, Rafinha doesn't suit Spurs, are you out of your mind? Rafinha's been outstanding at Barcelona. Better than Leeds. He's actually better at Barcelona than what he was at Leeds. And he was good at Leeds. So, yeah, Barca definitely one of the favourites to win the Champions League. Now Liverpool's out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Barcelona played, for me, they play the best football in the tournament. It's just whether or not they're going to be strong enough at the back. But yeah, Lamine Yamal. By the way, Rafinha is 6 goals away, I've heard today, 6 goals away, which is still quite a lot, but 6 goals away from beating Cristiano Ronaldo's Champions League most goals in a season record. So keep an eye on that because they score goals, Barcelona. And if they were to win the Champions League and he gets anywhere near that, are we talking about Ballon d'Or type performance? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there.
Blimey. He'll be in the hat, won't he? He'll be in the hat. He'll definitely be in the conversation. Yamal will be in the conversation. Any team that wins their league title will be in the conversation. Salah will be in the conversation if he ends up top goal scorer in Liverpool in the league. Yeah, he'll be in the hat, Harry. He'll be in the hat, Savva.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, let's go to some questions. We've got loads of questions coming in. Where are we? So I'm just trying to save some of the questions here as we go along. Here we go. So question 1 is, listen, there's going to be a few Ange questions. So if some of them I don't get read out, please take it that it's because it was similar to the one before. Just your general AV geek or AV geek has said, when do you think Ange will be sacked and why is it taking so long from your perspective? There's 3 or 4 like this, Stel. People wondering, is he going to be sacked if it's his last game? If he loses tomorrow, why hasn't he gone already? It is baffling at this stage, isn't it? I've never felt like this about a manager before. What says you?
I've never known a manager to get so much support from a fan base who's done nothing and continually fails. So it's not just Levy, it's the fan base. There's still a large section of Spurs fans that are behind Ange. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I'm done predicting when he'll go. I said he'll go in December. We kept him. I said they've got to get rid of him in January because it's the last chance to save the season whilst we're still in cups. They kept him. I said, right, if we go out of both cups, he's done. He went out of both cups. He's here. I don't get it. I don't understand it. There's a cult. There's still an Ange cult who are destroying the football club. This cult of Ange has destroyed Tottenham Hotspur along with the cult of Levy. And I'd like to think that if we go out on Thursday night, he gets sacked Friday morning. But I don't trust that's what's going to happen. I'll say this. If he's going to get sacked, it's going to be after AZ Alkmaar. If we lose. If we lose and he doesn't get sacked, then I think he's here for next season as well.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, I agree with you. I think the big thing for me is I get loads of, you know what it's like still being a YouTuber. You put your shows out, you get loads and loads of people that, I'm just going to change the background, by the way, just really, really quickly. I'm just going to change the background. There we go. So we look a little bit more brighter. There we go. That's better, isn't it? That's better. My thumbnail guy doing it for me on the spot. Yeah, look, I think the difficulty that I have is I get loads of people, as I'm sure you do, that message and say things like, oh, you need more patience. You don't understand it's a rebuild, all these things. I just can't quite get my head around what anybody is wanting the patience for still. This is my underlying problem with this. It's not that we've lost a few games. It's not that, oh, we've won 10 games at home, but we've lost 3 silly ones. This is bad defeats, bad stats, bad defending, lack of coaching, out of both cup competitions, haven't played anyone of any note in Europe yet. So I'm just struggling to understand why this guy, back a manager, sure, but why this guy? Why is this the one that everyone's throwing their support behind?
It's because of this stupid mantra that's developed in the last 2 years. We can't keep sacking managers. To which I reply, you can if you've hired the wrong one. you can if you've hired an average manager. We've backed the wrong horse. So we've put ourselves in a corner by saying, well, you can't keep sacking managers. And then you get all this, look at Klopp, look at Fergie, look at Arteta. But what they do is they don't look at those managers. Arteta's won nothing. Why do you want to repeat that? Klopp won everything before he came, or almost everything, before he came to Liverpool. And he was getting to finals every year whilst he was at Liverpool. Fergie is the most successful manager Scotland's ever seen who hasn't managed Rangers or Celtic. Not only did he take on Rangers and Celtic, he beat them several occasions. And then he beat Bayern Munich and Real Madrid in Europe to win a European trophy for Aberdeen. Yeah, you fans who say, look at Fergie, it took him 5 years. Look at what Fergie did before he came to Man United. Look at what Klopp did before he came to Liverpool and what he did in the process whilst he was at Liverpool. What's Ange done? He's taken us from not being in Europe and being 8th in the league, spending £400 million in 2 years to taking us to mid-table in the league and not in Europe. We're literally back to square one at the end of this season, having spent £400 million. And people say, yeah, but you've got to look at Klopp. You've got to look at no. You guys need to look at Klopp and Fergie and stop comparing him to Ange, because the comparison doesn't exist. It's not just about give a manager time. You've got to give the right manager time. Right, I don't like it when fans do that. Give the manager time. That needs to be reworded. Give the right manager time. That's what needs to be said. Ange is not the right manager. And another player last season only missed 2 games. Comes to Spurs, Danzo. Within 5 games, his hamstrings popped. So now when are we gonna start saying this isn't just about bad luck? When are we going to have that conversation? But hey, look at Fergie, look at Klopp. This didn't happen under Fergie and Klopp.
Yeah. No, I think this is the key thing, and it's as I've said all along. We'll go on to the next question, but it's as I've said all along. Still, I'm up for. I hate the word rebuild. I hate the word project. I'm up for all of these different things. But I've got to see some evidence of what's happening. I've got to see some evidence as what is it that we're trying to achieve. I did a video this morning where I said, if there's just one thing that shows he's not learned anything in his nearly 2 years at this club, still, it is this Pedro Porro right back situation where we're always caught out there. He's not addressed that in nearly 2 years. And again, I'm not blaming Pedro Porro. I'm blaming the tactics. But any manager worth their salt would have seen that after the first half an hour of their game, let alone after 2 years. So for me, that tells you nothing's changing. So look, let's get to the next question. But big up, thanks for that question, General Avgeek. Tommy Castillo's got an interesting one. He said, if you were a professional football player, what league would you retire in? No top 5 leagues and no MLS. Why am I not allowed to go and play with Messi for Inter Miami? Why am I not allowed to go out to the US? Which league would you retire in? So you're not allowed America or the top 5 leagues.
The Barbados top division, because I'll have Caribbean waters around me every day. I'd go sailing every day. I'd catch fresh fish. I'd drink lots of rum and pina coladas, white sands, parties, just the good life, and yeah, man, just live the dream.
Yeah, I do you know what? I think there's something about me that would want to go and play in Cyprus. I also feel like I might want to go out to. Yeah. I say Argentina or Brazil, but that doesn't feel like much of a retirement. They're pretty feisty out there. It doesn't feel like I'd be able to let my hair down, but. Yeah, maybe that, or even a cheeky little trip to the A-League out in Australia. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The next question, big up to that question. Very interesting one there. Richard Hollis, just straight in, like no punches pulled with this question. Is Tell rubbish? It's a bit harsh, but still, Matisse Tell being talked about a lot. He was the 10 million loan signing with an option to buy. He's going to, it's a lot of talk about this bloke.
We signed a player who plays in the number 9 who can't score goals. When we had 2 players that cost nothing, Lancashire and Scarlett, that could have been given the chance.
Yeah.
Right. We chose to send Lancashire out on loan. We chose to bring Scarlett back from loan, but not play him. And then we signed Tell. The argument's going to be, oh, but Lancashire and Scarlett aren't much better. They don't really score goals when they play. But Tell doesn't. So what was the point? I would rather have seen Scarlett or Lancashire get the 5 games that Tell got, so we can see if they can do something. I don't understand why we've got an academy. I don't understand why Spurs have got an academy. None of the academy kids are breaking through. They're not being given the minutes. But my argument here is we're signing youngsters to come in to play in the position of our academy players, but they're not doing anything. I'll give you a few examples. So Tell's come in to play as the 9. He's done absolutely nothing. And I said for 3 weeks now, I saw it after 2 games. He's not a striker. I kept saying it. I've scouted players in the past. He's not a striker. I don't understand how he's playing in that number 9.
I agree.
So he has proven nothing to suggest he's better than Scarlett or Lancashire. He's proven nothing to suggest that. Another player, Odebert. We signed Odebert and we signed Yang. One's gone out on loan, so okay, maybe he's one for the future. Odebert's back and he's playing. No goals, no assists, no end product. Yes, he is beginning to beat the man, but for what? He's not getting a shot on target. He's not creating any chances, and his crossing is pretty poor. So as much as he's busy, there's no end product. Why not just play Mikey Moore there, who's shown us that he can dribble and there is some end product? Why not give Mikey Moore the minutes? But instead, we've blocked the pathway for an academy player, signed another youngster who isn't doing it. I don't understand signing youngsters when you've got an academy player that can already do that, and the player that you sign is no better than the academy player. One more example, because I do want to balance it out.
Yeah, go
on. We've signed a young player called Archie Gray, right? He splits opinion, divides fans. That's fine. But there's an argument to say that right now, there's no good number 6 in the club. There's no academy player who plays in the 6. Play Archie Gray there. Now, if we had signed him and played him there to judge him in that position, I can understand why we signed that youngster, because we don't have anyone else in the academy that can do it.
Yeah.
But to sign Tell and to sign Odebert when you've got more Lancashire and Scarlett, it makes no sense. So to answer your question, is Tell crap? Tell is a pointless signing. It makes no sense. None at all. And if he is going to play out left eventually, then what's the point of signing Yang? What's the point of having Mikey Moore? What's the point of signing Odebert? What are we doing? Like, what are we doing as a football club? It doesn't make sense.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And just before I put my 2 pence on that, absolutely, Ryan, no one's going to be watching Arsenal tonight. They'll be watching me on Big Up instead, won't they? I've got Atletico Madrid. Sorry, Atletico, not Ath. Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. I'm hearing that there's no Kylian Mbappe for Madrid as well. That's just what I've heard. I don't know if it's true. By the way, it's not an ITK. It's just someone said it to me earlier. I don't know anybody at Real Madrid or anything. But join me. That game is nicely poised. And I've got a little bit of a feeling that Atletico might do this. Anyway, yeah, look, still, I completely agree with you. I think, definitely with Mikey Moore, if he is this top talent that everyone is raving about, then get him on the wing, because look, Odebert, for me, I'm not going to judge him too harshly because he's young, right? Again, we keep doing this, right? But the problem is, it's the fanfare that goes with it. So if you remember the day we signed him, Stel, it was all the videos start coming out, don't they? Why Odebert fixes Tottenham's wide position? And you're like, based on what? He got like 2 goals and 2 assists for Burnley. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where I start to lose patience with fans. But you're right. When I watch him play, does he look exciting? like it's almost like he wants to do something. I don't know if you agree with me this on Stel. I feel like Odegaard wants to engage his fullback and then doesn't. I feel like he could, but he won't. Does that make sense? As opposed to Brennan Johnson, who I don't think can. I think there's a difference there. I don't think Johnson can. Odegaard looks like he can, but doesn't. So is that a tactical instruction to not take on your man?
No, it's a lack of confidence from the player on the ball. I don't think Odegaard's a confident player at Spurs yet. I think a lot of our players lack confidence, but
sure,
when you look at the situation at the club, crashing out of cup competitions, getting beaten by AZ Alkmaars and Ipswiches and Leicester, how can you be confident? Players, clearly, some of them aren't happy with the system. So I don't think we're a happy camp. I think Ange paints a happy picture and a couple of players speak to the media and say, yeah, it's all good. I don't think that's the truth. I think behind the scenes, it's not a happy camp. I don't think it's toxic. It's not Conte Mourinho toxicity, but I don't think it's a happy camp. I think it's a confused camp. It's an uncertain, bit unsure. You know, I just want to say as well to the chat, I'm not saying Mikey Moore, Lancashire or Scarlett are the answer. But what I'm saying is we don't give them the minutes that we're giving the other youngsters who we've signed. And the youngsters we've signed have shown me nothing. I've not seen anything from Odegaard to think, wow. I've not seen anything from Tell to say, yeah, this made sense. At least with Danzo, he came in and I can say, do you know what? He's been a steady pair of hands. Some questionable decisions he makes at times.
Sure.
But he's far more steady than what Dragusin was in that role. Far more steady than Ben Davies. So I understand why we brought him in on a loan. It makes sense. But the whole Tell Odegaard thing, Savva, I don't get it. And with Mikey Moore, I saw him come on against Effersborg, went on a dribble, beat 2-3 players, calmly from the edge of the box, scored. I saw him come on against AZ Alkmaar in the group stage. For 10 minutes, he ran riot. And you're thinking, wow, there's a baller here. I also saw him in Europe. I think he was in the earlier stages. He went down the wing, put an unbelievable cross to Werner in front of goal, and Werner fucked it up. So I've seen things from Mikey Moore to suggest he could be a really good player. But I want him to play 5, 6, 7 games so I can say, right, is he really ready? I don't know the answer to that. Whereas Tell, we spent 10 million, gave him 5 games, and he looks bang average. So this is where my argument lies. It just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, no, listen, I completely agree with you. And by the way, there's a few people in the chat saying, isn't it a bit harsh on Tell? Look, the difficulty is, yes, Tell's a young kid. But if the club have decided that's the signing, what we can't do, we're Tottenham Hotspur, right? We're a top 6 club in the Premier League. Not this season, but we're a top 6 club for the last 20 years in the Premier League. What we can't do is sign youngsters by design and then turn around and go, yeah, but we can't judge them. Well, if you are saying they're good enough to come in and play, I'm going to judge them by that. Now, I feel like, for me, I said it at the time, Odegaard, for me, a lot of people were wetting their pants about, oh, he's brilliant. But whenever I'd watched him for Bayern, he looked like a young player making his way. Moments of brilliance, but not consistent, and hadn't forced himself into the team for a reason. And it's just typical that Spurs will go and sign him probably in the summer.
Savva, can I just add, right? I don't feel I'm being harsh on Tell at all, okay? Because when we signed Bentancur and Kulusevski, they came in, instant impact, and we got top 4. They were partly the reason we got top 4. Not the reason, but they were part of it. Yeah. We signed Kinski, Danzo, and Tell. Now, Kinski, we've signed him. Danzo and Tell are loan signings. So it's Danjuma all over again. We've brought a player in January to help us get through the season. There's 4 months left. February, March, April, May. 6 weeks into this, Tell has done nothing. He's young. Give him a chance. No, it's a loan deal for 4 months. Half of that period's almost up. He's done nothing. I'm not going to judge him in May when the season's over. We need to judge now. And so far, he's shown nothing. So how else do we judge the player if they're here for 4 months on loan? How do you judge the player? Do we judge him the last week of May? Do we ignore the first month that he's at Spurs? Do we ignore May? Do we ignore March? Should we wait till after Easter? When you make a loan signing, you loan them because you need instant impact.
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 or 2 games, okay, settling in. Guys, it's been 6 weeks. We're now entering the 7th week of Tel being here. You're being harsh. Be patient. No. Either you impact or it's a dud signing, just like Danjuma was a dud. This is, for me, this looks like another dud.
Well, the way I look at it is when I look at our signings, I think Kinski, not better than what we've got in any way, shape or form. Danso, I think for me was a complete panic. Listen, I don't mind Danso. If you said
I don't mind Danso.
Danso's your third or fourth choice centre back who's going to come in for cup games and he's going to play when someone's injured, I'm cool with that. But let's be fair, Danso was brought in because of the injuries at the back, right? And you're right. You've now got Tel, who isn't better than what we've got. So I then look down the road, metaphorically, I look down the road at Villa. Villa in their 2 load signings have gone and got Asensio and Rashford, who have both already had an immediate impact. They're senior pros. Now, whatever you think of Rashford, the quality is there, right? The temperament, the attitude, we could talk about all of that, but you know what you're getting with him in terms of ability. They've gone and got those 2 that immediately score goals, do you know what I mean? We've gone and got a 19-year-old kid, and then fans going, we've got to give him time. You can't give time to a loan signing. They've got to, that's the whole point of being a loan, isn't it? But look, let's move away from that. And by the way, Catalan in the chat, one thing I will say, you know, I think you've compared, I get it from your name that you are a Barcelona fan, talking about the Catalan. But I do feel it's really harsh to judge anybody against Lamine Yamal. He is the sort of player that comes around every 25 years. He isn't the sort of player that you pluck every week out of an academy. This boy was smashing teams up at the age of 16 in the Euros, right? Like this is not Mikey Moore. This is not Waneri. This is not Tel. Is that fair, Stel? He's next level, isn't he? He's up there.
It's like comparing any 16-year-old striker to Wayne Rooney at 16. Just don't do it. Come on.
Yeah. I think that's the problem. I think nowadays we do compare way too many people to other people. Look, everyone's forging their own path. Tel could be brilliant in a few years. He could be. But for me, he should be playing somewhere where he's playing on the left wing, not as a striker, and where he's given the freedom to go and enjoy his football. At the moment at Spurs, he's not got either of those things. There's a lot of pressure because of how badly we've been doing. He's not playing on the left. So look, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Let's see the next question, shall we? No more questions, guys. There's loads in the chat now. Warren, listen, Warren, just to round off the Ange questions. If we lose tomorrow, the easiest way I can put it is he should be sacked, but he won't. I don't think he will be. That's all I can say on it. So, yeah, I don't know if you need to say anything on it, Stel, or if you're happy with that as an answer.
I want Ange gone. I'm sick to death of this manager. I've been sick to death of him since November. It's just painful, you know. It's just painful. I was there on Sunday because Michael from Poland came over. We got tickets months ago. I went and I just sat there and just how I felt every time I've gone this season. I'm sitting there just saying to myself, "This is absolute crap." And you know, the manager is making the same fundamental errors that he's made that has made me feel this way. I don't like the way our wing backs are positioned. I don't like the way there's no number 6. I don't like the way that we try to pass the ball. We just seem to attack down the flanks, never down the middle. I don't like the choice of players at times. You know, that midfield pick. Do you know what, Savva? I'm just repeating myself. I say the same thing every week. I literally say the same thing every week.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Listen, I'm not going to bring up any more about Ange and should he be sacked. Look, for what it's worth, my 2 pence worth is I know lots of people don't know why, but I think we will beat AZ Alkmaar tomorrow. I do expect us to go through. So I'm not expecting, I know what will happen. We'll go through tomorrow and I'll get loads of people going, you're in the mud. Well, not really. I fully expect to beat AZ Alkmaar over 2 legs. Let's get to the next question, shall we?
Savva, I'm not sure about tomorrow, you know. I was
Really?
so confident. Yeah. I was so confident we'd beat AZ Alkmaar. But after watching that performance in Holland, how we got away with it, then watching us against Bournemouth, I'm actually now worried. I'm not creating drama. I'm 50-50 if we go through. A lot of people came after me on my channel saying, Stel, you said we're going to beat them. We tried to tell you, why were you so confident? I said, guys, look, I predicted we'd win certain games this season. I don't think we can't beat anyone. You know, I fully expected us to beat AZ, but they outplayed us. And tactically, their manager did a number on us. What I'm worried about, Savva, their manager showed to me he's tactically savvy. He's watched us and he understands what to do. What I'm worried now is we will go into this game. We've got to go for it, okay? We need to score. They don't. So we're going to go for it. I'm worried he's going to get them to sit deep, squeeze the game, be compact.
Yeah.
And then try and hit those fast wingers they had on the counter. And if he gets one goal, just one goal, and they're 2-0 up, it's going to be panic stations for us because I think he might just lock it down. That's my fear. Hopefully he doesn't do that and he tries to be more expansive, which gives us more of a chance. My fear is he comes and says, do you know what? I'm going to do a Nottingham Forest on you. Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
And if he pulls that off, Savva, this is why I'm 50-50. Look, you're probably right. We probably will go through. But I'm 50-50 now, Sav. I've lost a lot of confidence for this game.
Look, I'm not sitting there 100% confident like, oh my God, we're definitely through. But I feel like we should be going through. From what I've seen of AZ, I think they do some good bits. Their managers clearly watched Spurs from the first game and said, in the second game, this is how I beat you. And he has. Doing that on a bigger pitch at White Hart Lane is going to be different. As with anything, first goal, really important. If they get the first goal, we've then got the crowd go a bit somber and it's crazy. If we get the first goal early on, tails could be up and it could be a long night. But Troy Parrott, written in the stars, goal, we'll see.
He should have scored against us, other than Vicario making a really good save.
They should be out of reach still. They had golden opportunities.
And another thing as well, in the 4th minute of the game, we've been bossed by everyone. In the 4th minute of the game, Bergvall clattered into their boy who went off injured after 4 minutes. He's their best player. If he's back, that is a massive bonus for them because he's a really instrumental player in their attack. And they played the whole game without him, and they still looked good. So I really am on the fence with this, Savva. I was so confident last week, but after the last 2 games, I just feel shit. Just absolute shit. And in midfield, we haven't got many options. Kulu's out. Bentancur suspended. So he's going to have to pick Maddison, Bergvall, Bissouma, Sarr between those 4. None of them really have, that 6th position, Sarr or Bissouma, it's like dumb or dumber. And he's going to play Gray. He's not going to play Gray in the 6. He won't do it. He's not going to do it.
And you know my feelings still about Bentancur as well. I've never seen a more overhyped player. I think he's been absolutely atrocious this season. But I'll make you right. The midfield area isn't right.
Well, he's suspended. He can't play.
Yeah. No, I know he's suspended for this one. But my point was I don't rate him. I don't rate the ones. It's not that I don't rate the ones coming in. I just don't rate them in this system. But look, let's get to the next question. I think this is quite an interesting one. Cold Shot, big up to you. And by the way, thank you. So far, I've had 5 new subscribers tonight. Please do subscribe and please get over and subscribe to Stel at Tottenham away. I owe him big time. So please get over and subscribe to Stel. That would be very, very generous of you all. Cold Shot has said, what are your thoughts on Marco Silva? Do you think he would fit right into the team if we were to get him in the summer? Do you mind if I take this one first, Stel?
Yeah.
Cold Shot, if you had asked me 3-4 years ago, I think I would have said no. If I'm going to be brutally honest, I would have said no. I think he had a torrid time at some places. What I would say is I think he's developed nicely in the last 3 or 4 years. And when you watch Fulham, for the stadium size, the revenue, the squad that they've got, I think he does a good job. I think he does a really, really good job with what he's got. Because the question I would ask Cold Shot is, if anyone had said to me at the beginning of the season that our back four is going to be Robinson, Bassi, Anderson, and Castagne, right? And the midfield's going to be Berg and Lukic, and then we're going to have a Wobie. Who's the other Arsenal lad?
Smith Rowe.
Yeah, we're going to have a Wobie, Smith Rowe, and whoever the other, and Traore with Jimenez up top. Everyone would have shot me down and said, Savva, you don't know ball. You don't know ball, bruv. I would have been told I don't understand it. But with a team like that, he does brilliantly. And if you actually look at the Premier League table, Fulham are sitting there. They're 3 points off Europe, Fulham. They're 3 points off Europe. So do I think he'd do a better job? I think what you'd get is, I think he'd organise a team brilliantly, cold shot. I think that he'd get a playing style, a shape. I think he's the guy before the guy. You know, man, some clubs have the guy before the guy. I think he's that guy. I don't think if we ever got in a position to get over the line, I don't think he's that guy. But what I do know is this, Stel. I would take him 365 days a year over Ange Postecoglou.
I would take Jose back. I'd take Conte back. I'd take Nuno back. I'd take Poch back. I'd take Marco Silva, Thomas Tuchel, Iriola. I'd take Nuno back. I'd take Thomas Frank. I'd take Hesler from Brighton. I'd take all of them. They're all above us. They all play better football. Mate, Jerry Francis, David Pleat. I don't care. This is just... I think you're right what you're saying. Marco Silva now has matured as a manager. He's learnt his trade. He's a far more rounded manager, and Fulham are a good team. You know, they're a really good team. No one fancies their chances against them, no matter what club you are. You know you're in for a game when you play them. The manager I really want though is Iriola. The more I watch, the more I think they've beaten all the top teams this season. They've beaten them all, except for Liverpool. But one thing I love about them is they play their wide players as wide players. The wing backs both have been coached to defend, right? I watched them do a number on us defensively, the left and right back. And I just said to myself, this is what we need at Spurs. And they've been coached. You know, Kirkes was a AC Milan player that they had, youngster. Maldini left. So the club decided, let him go because Maldini's the one that brought him in. They've scouted him. They've developed him. Tavernier, he's a reject. He's gone there. They've developed him. Hoisin was at Juventus. Juventus got rid of him. There was a lot of arguing at Juventus. Iggy told me amongst the fans because they couldn't believe they were letting this young kid go who they rated. He's come to Bournemouth. He's been developed. He's outstanding. They've got Christie and Cook. These are championship players that have been coached to play in a system, and they are all thriving. And then you've got a front three of Ivan Nielsen, Semedo, Kluivert. They're as good as a front three as anyone else in the league right now. And I look at that and I think, what could Iriola do if he was given an Odegaard, a Solanke? And by the way, watching Bournemouth play against Spurs, I'm not surprised Solanke scored 19 goals last season, people. Watching Bournemouth live at White Hart Lane, I totally get why Solanke scored 19 goals, because the service they provide, the forward line, we don't do that. We just don't do it. So I asked myself, if Odegaard, Mikey Moore, Solanke, Bergvall, Maddison, Kulu, maybe a youngster like Pape Sarr, Van der Ven, Romero, Danzo, if these players, Porro, Spence, if these players, Adogi, if they had a coach like Iriola that played how they're supposed to play in their positions, developed them as individuals, made them attacking but not defensively suspect all the time, I just wonder what we could do. So for me, you know, I look at Iriola and I think, I like his system. I like the fact there's a six. I like the fact that it's not just attacking down the wings. There is some middle play. I like the fact that he could probably get the best out of Solanke again. And he can coach youngsters, which is the big one for me. So I just, based on that, I would love Iriola. But if we've got any of the other names, it wouldn't bother me either, Savva.
I completely agree with you, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I was answering on Silva because that was the question. But Iriola for me... I think the phrase I keep hearing is he gives Poch vibes. right? Now, whatever you want to say, I get it. I get it. It's a manager that's come from Spain, did well in Spain, gone to a smaller club, no disrespect, in the Premier League, done well, and now, he's followed the same path as Poch. And I think you're absolutely right. What would these players do with the coaching? Now, I want that to lead on to the next couple of questions still. I saw this question earlier. So there was two here. So the first one was from STNZZS5, who said, "Hi, lads, what position do you think this squad should be in based on its quality?" I remember on We Are Tottenham TV, Savva said we should be fourth. But for me, don't think this squad is better than sixth. Now, what I actually said was, I think we should be fighting for fourth, and I'm going to explain that in a second. And then Kobe Meads come in with a very similar question and said, this team is capable of getting top 5 next season as long as a good coach comes in. Ange is out of his depth. False. Well, look, on both those points still, if I actually show the Premier League table, I'm going to tell you why I think that Tottenham should have been, I'm not saying we should be fourth outright, by the way, but when you look at that Premier League table, how many points off 4th, 5th, 6th are we? 13, right? We are 13 points off of Man City, Newcastle, and Brighton. And if we were where Newcastle and Man City were, or Brighton, or Villa, we're in a top 4 race. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Right. So we're 11 points behind Villa. So we're 11 points behind being in a top 4 race. I look at all the games this season. I look at Bournemouth at home. I look at Fulham at home. Wolves at home. I look at Ipswich at home. I look at Palace away. Everton away. Right? I'm looking at all these clubs. I'm sure there's some I've missed. I'm looking at all these games and saying to myself, with a better manager, I don't think we lose all. I'm not saying we don't lose any of them, but I don't think we lose some of them. And I think we turn 3 or 4 of those defeats into draws and wins, which gets you an extra 8 to 10 to 12 points. So for me, I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be there with this squad still. And the last thing I'll say is, I don't think the quality is particularly great in the Premier League. So when we could talk Man City all day long. We know Man City are having an off season. If Nottingham Forest can be where they are through good coaching, a well-drilled side with the players they've got, if Newcastle United can, and by the way, Newcastle have actually got quite a small squad. Straight away, you take out Anthony Gordon and you're scratching around for a new winger. You take out centre mids and you're putting in Lewis Miley. I look at Bournemouth, Villa, Brighton. I don't believe, other than Villa, that these squads are better than ours. So do you understand my point of view still as to why I said I think we should be, with a better coach, we should be in those areas. Not with Ange, with a better coach.
Yeah, 100%. We don't lose to Leicester and Ipswich at home, so that's 6 points. There's no way we concede that winning goal that we did at St James's Park from that insane high line that cost us the goal that Newcastle scored to beat us. I don't think we go to Crystal Palace and lose 1-0, maybe a draw, because that was quite a cagey game. We certainly won't be playing out from the back in the 94th minute against Crystal Palace when we're 1-0 down and we've got Richie and Solanke up front and we're not sending a long ball forward. We certainly won't do that. And also, I don't think we can go 2-0 lead away at Brighton. So, yeah, you could easily find 4 or 5 games that you convert into wins and draws, which, let's call it 10 points. 10 points from 33, 43, we're in a top 4 race. So, yeah, absolutely. This was the argument we were saying earlier in the season. There's certain games this season the manager has cost us. We don't expect to win every game. I don't expect us to win the league. But we finished 5th we finished 5th last year. We finished 5th. We signed 5 players. We're now 13th and we are crashing out of cups for fun. Why would you not think we could at least get 5th, having added to the squad?
Sorry, Jonathan David's just scored for Lille in 5 minutes at home to Dortmund, and the keeper, if anyone gets to see it, it goes right through the keeper's legs. He's had a mare. Anyway, yeah, listen, Stel, that was my point, right? It wasn't that we should be 4th. It wasn't, I'm arrogant enough to think we're the 4th best team. But for me, we should be right in there. We should be right up there with Villa, Brighton, Newcastle. We should be in that mix, right? going, well, hang on, we've got 10 games of this season. If we can put a run together, but we're not. So when people talk to me about, with the quality of players we've got, I think people are forgetting their predictions in the summer still. Because in the summer, I don't know about you on your channel, I don't really remember anyone going, well, do you know what, with this squad, we should be 10th or 12th. I don't remember anybody. The odd, maybe like a Scott M, but I don't.
Yes, Scott said we're getting relegated. He was almost right. Most people on my channel and the guests that came on predicted we'll finish anywhere between 5th to 8th. Maybe that there's a range anywhere in there they could see us falling. No one said we'd get top 4. I think we said we might be in a title race, but because of the amount of games we've got to play, everyone said anywhere between 5th and 8th. I think it was. A lot of people said 7th or 8th.
Yeah, look. I by the way, I said we should be. I said I thought we would finish 7th, but look at the table. Look how tight it's going to be between 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And the fact that we're not in that mix, that's what's annoyed me still. It's that we're not even in the mix. We're sitting here right now. Big up, Ryan. We're sitting here right now talking about, oh, do you know what? I reckon we could get top 10 if we win the next 4 games. You know, top 10? Sorry, what have we gone back to mid-1990s? Top 10? What
was top 10?
It's madness. And that's
it's the same
my point when debating people still. That's always my point. Because people always say to me, oh, you overrate this squad. Do I? Do I overrate this squad? I was told I was too negative about this squad in the summer. I don't know what's happened. So
poison, toxic, and all that stuff. The thing is, it's not just the league; it's the FA Cup. Had we have beaten Villa, look at all the teams that have dropped out the FA Cup. Imagine being a Big 6 club in the mix for the FA Cup right now. You must be licking your lips. You must be thinking, do you know what? We could actually win this. Everyone's dropped out. Arsenal out, Liverpool out, Man United out. Chelsea out. Are Chelsea out? Yeah, I think Chelsea are out, aren't they?
Yeah, the only Big 6 club in it is Man City, and they've got Bournemouth away in the cup. So
this is. Do you know what? I might put a cheeky bet on Nottingham Forest for the FA Cup. You know.
Oof.
Quarterfinals. They're in the quarterfinals.
I'd like Palace, Fulham, or Brighton to win it.
Yeah, no, it's not who I want to see win it. It's who I think might pull it out the bag. I think Forest might get to the cup final, you know.
Yeah.
They're very hard to beat. They're very difficult to beat.
I'll tell you what. Do you know what? Again, Alf, I take so much shit for when I praise Villa, but Aston Villa are about to, barring a disaster tonight, are going to be in the quarterfinals of the Champions League against PSG. They're in the FA Cup quarterfinals. And they're, what are they, 2 points? They are 3 points off of Champions League football in the league. And when people are going, they haven't had as good a season as last year. What? What? Sorry? They're dining at Europe's top table. They're 3 games a win from an FA Cup. And they could still get top 5 to get you Champions League football. Interesting times. Look, the next, before we get to the next question, guys and girls, big up to each and every one of you. There's 445 of you in here and only 113 likes, which is diabolical. Let's get that to 200 ASAP, please. We should know better than that. And thank you to all those who have subscribed. Really, really do appreciate you. Please get over to Stel and subscribe to him as well. Let's mix it up with the next question. We did one about who's the next manager. Here's a good question from our mate Angus. We all love Angus. Who's always not available the day after Arsenal lose. But when Arsenal win, he's there. He's there. Don't you worry about it. If you sell Romero, how much do you honestly think you get for him? I'll let you take this one first, Del. Christian Romero, the enigma.
50, 60 mil.
Is that through ability or the length of time on his contract or a mixture of both?
I think there's clubs out there that look at him and think he's a top centre back and it could work for them. I think there's clubs out there that look at the fact he played for Argentina when they won the World Cup. Also, how old is he? He's not old, is he? How old is Romero?
Is he 20? Let's have a look. 27, isn't he? Christian Romero.
Romero is.
There you go. Christian Romero is 27
Sick.
years of age. 27 next month. It's 27.
All right, so he's coming into that peak age of where you're at your most experienced. So yeah, I reckon 50 mil.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he got 2 years left on his contract. I think he would suit going to the Spanish league. I think he'd suit going to the Italian league. I think he'll definitely have suitors. And I've said it many times on this channel. I feel for 50, 60 million. And here's the caveat, Stel. So hear me out. With good scouts, I think there's brilliant centre-backs you can pick up all over Europe. And the biggest example of that, I would say, look at Crystal Palace in the summer. They went and signed Lacroix from Wolfsburg, who was Mickey van der Ven's partner. And he's been an unsung hero in what is a very stubborn, well-drilled defence. And not a sexy name. He's never talked about when people talk about top Premier League centre-backs. Gets on with it, does his job. I don't see him ever loads and loads of mistakes. I'm guessing if there's any Palace fans in, they'll tell me otherwise. And how much did he cost? If anyone in the chat could tell me how much Lacroix cost. So I would definitely sell him this summer. I suppose it depends who's the manager next year. Maybe if we get a better coach, I'd be happy to keep him, but not in this setup. I just can't in this setup.
Mate, I like Milenkovic and Murillo.
Oh, Milenkovic is quality, by the way.
Yeah, I'll take them all day long. I quite like. Do you know who's beginning to grow on me? And he had a really shaky start, but I've seen some bits from him that's making me realise there's a really good centre back there if they get it right. Is that that young lad they signed at Man City who's got a Kraka Kazavele, I don't know what his name is. The young kid at centre back. He's made a couple of mistakes in his first couple of games.
Kusanov, good player.
Yeah, I've watched him play the last two games, and do you know what? There's a really good centre half in there. You know, I like the look of him, but that's more of a long-term prospect. Listen, Savva, whatever we do, we'll get it wrong. So whatever we decide, that Vuskovic, the young lad we signed from Croatia, he's tearing up trees. He actually looks like he might be the real deal. Do you know that? He's very young. He's still young, but he's tearing it up, you know. Everyone is talking about him. He's had a fantastic season. He potentially could be a big player for Spurs. Again, if we get the right coach that's going to nurture it and take what he's done and push it to the next level, that Vuskovic could actually turn out to be a fantastic centre-back for Spurs in the next 2-3 years.
I just wouldn't wish Ange Postecoglou's lack of coaching on him. No.
Ange can't be here. Ange can't be here.
If you said to me that Iriola's going to be our manager for the next few years, I would say, right, next year I want him loaned out to a English club. I want him loaned out in the Championship, for example. Bulk him out, get him down there, and then I would have the view of bringing him into the first team the season after. At the moment, under Ange, do I want any talented youngster to have his guidance? I just don't. I just really, really don't. And by the way, people are saying 18 million for Lacroix. It goes to show, doesn't it? Not every player needs to be 50, 60, 70 million. Yeah, look, let's move on to good evening to the psycho teacher. Good evening to you, my man. Hope you are well. By the way, guys and girls, absolutely atrocious on the likes. 135 likes. Guys, there's 465 of you in here. Come on. There are YouTubers that won't even start their show until they get 200 likes. Surely we can get the likes. I'm not asking for super chats. Get those likes in and subscribe if you haven't already as we chase down 17K and then 20K. The next question, Stel. This is an interesting one. The workers' reading room. I like that. That's a really good little thumbnail, that. I said, why is the atmosphere in English football so bland compared to other leagues? It's an interesting one. What's your take on that?
Well, it's not. It just depends what club you follow. When Poch was here, White Hart Lane was rocking. White Hart Lane, when Poch was here, I loved it. I loved being there. It was freaking bouncing, man. Okay, we might not have the flares and the fireworks and the fans jumping up and down and tearing things up, but that's because the health and safety rules in this country are far more stricter, and also stewards in this country, they kick you out. Over there, stewards, they're like, nah, we ain't touching that. You know, we don't really have ultras. European clubs have got proper ultras still. Our ultras don't really exist in that fashion. So I think the rules and the governance is far more stricter here. Listen, I follow Apoel Nicosia, small little club in Cyprus. Whenever I go to their games, you can't see a police officer, you can't see a steward. It's absolute carnage. They set fire to the seats. They're nutters, right? And it's like that in a lot of European countries. So I think that's the biggest factor. But if you put the theatre to one side, right, or the pyrotechnics to one side, actual atmosphere, when Spurs beat Arsenal 3-0 under Conte, and whoever won that game got 4, that's one of the best atmospheres I've ever been to in any game in world football. That was incredible. So it depends on the game, and I think it depends whether your club's actually fighting for something. Right now at Spurs, we're fighting for nothing. The atmosphere's shit. We know the season's dead. Arsenal, their atmosphere's improved in the last couple of years as they challenged for trophies, but as soon as the chance of winning it is over, the atmosphere's dead at the Emirates. Absolute shit. So I think it depends whether or not you're in contention. Go to Nottingham Forest right now. The atmosphere is electric, absolutely electric there, because they can't believe they might get top 4. So I think in England we sing when we're winning, we go quiet when we don't. Whereas in Europe they just always sing because it's a different set of rules. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, listen, I think I think it's a good question. I think it's a bit of a general. Sweeping generalization, if we're honest. Like, for example, if you go to Dortmund, I was reading the other day, actually, someone said that this year has been really shit for them, and the crowd haven't been like normal. But normally, if you ever watch a Dortmund game, the yellow submarine not the yellow wall, whatever it's called, is electrifying. Yeah. So I think it all depends what's going on, doesn't it? But look,
Savva, do you know what though? I've got a mate that's been into that yellow wall. That yellow wall is in collaboration with the club. They work together to allow that to happen, right? At Spurs, you try and communicate with our club to have that kind of a vibe in the South Stand. Can't do that. Can't do this. We've got to sign a form for that. This is what I mean about rules and regulations. In Europe, they're more relaxed. In England, we're very strict, especially Spurs. There's we can't even have statues of our great players and managers at Spurs because of some random rule they've pulled out their backside. It's just shit like that. In Europe, they're much more relaxed with this stuff. They let the fans be the fans. Here, we're not really fans. We're customers. We're more customer than fan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So I didn't mean yellow submarine. I corrected. People jump on you immediately. Literally, I corrected myself in the same sentence. I know.
Isn't yellow submarine Villarreal? Is that what they call Villarreal? The yellow submarine.
Villarreal would definitely go by yellow submarine.
Yeah.
But look, it's let's have a look. Next question. I saw one that I liked just now. Quinny said, "How do you think Poch's team would have developed under Ange, like Walker, Rose, Ali, Ericsson, Kane's son?" It wouldn't.
How do you think Poch's team would have developed under Ange?
It wouldn't. The coaching. That Poch, great save. What a save. What a double save. Sorry. The Lille keeper's having a blinder. What a save. Oh, wow. Sorry. If anyone's watching the Lille game, wow. Sign him. Whoever that is, sign him. What a triple save. That was brilliant. Look, if you look, when Poch arrived, I think people have got to remember that, Walker wasn't the Walker we knew and loved. Rose wasn't the Rose we knew and loved. Dele Alli was a kid. Ericsson was, all right, we bought him. He had a big reputation, but wasn't the Ericsson we knew. Kane was a kid. Son had a good reputation from Germany, but hadn't come and hit the ground running. I'll ask this now. Imagine Walker and Rose playing in this gung-ho formation where they don't have defensive midfielders to rely upon like they did with Dembele and Wanyama. Imagine the centre-halves on the halfway line rather than Alderweireld and Vertonghen, who were rock solid. I just don't think it would have got anywhere. I don't think it would have got anywhere under this manager.
Well, where would you play Victor Wanyama? We don't play with a 6, so where does Wanyama play? We don't play with the front 3. We played with Son and Kane. So who's in the front 3? You know, Rose and Walker, they'd be more defensive than attacking, but when they went up the flanks, they went all the way up the byline and put a cross in. Where do you want Walker and Rose to invert? Into the number 10, into the 8? And again, if we're on the halfway line, Van der Ven wasn't rapid. Alderweireld certainly wasn't. So who's gonna track back and recover? You know, you just see another car crash. I think we'd do better because they're better players. Like Kane's better than Solanke, Eriksen's better than Bergvall and Maddison, Dembele's better than Bentancur, Bissouma, and Kulu. So that we've got Danny Rose can actually defend, whereas Udogie has gone to shit. He's been coached badly. So I think we've naturally got better players under Poch. So we do better because the players' talent is better. But in terms of a tactic and a system, we'd probably lose more games than what Poch lost, for sure. I think Poch... Did Poch lose... I believe the last season of White Hart Lane, Spurs went unbeaten. We won all our games and drew 1. Under Ange, this is the first season ever, we're not going to win 10 home games. It's impossible, mathematically impossible, since Harry Redknapp. So we're going back 15 years.
Do you know what? I want to caveat that Harry Redknapp season at home as well. By the way. And we did this the other day. From those 19 home games under Harry Redknapp in that season, we won 9, drew 9, and lost 1. We lost 1 game all season at home still, which was Wigan. And I think that was our second home game of the season. So we nearly went unbeaten the whole season. But yeah, you're right. The fact that we've got 4 home games left. And if anyone said right now we're going to win all 4 home games, I'm not confident we're going to win all 4 home games. But yes, to your point, who put Quinny? To your point, I agree. I think the point you were generally making is that those players wouldn't have been coached and as good as they are under this manager because this guy isn't a coach. Pochettino, for his faults, was a coach. He's a superb coach. He gets people better and better and better. Big up to you. I won't be able to get through everything. We've got another 15 minutes to go. Phil Coys, big up to you, my man, has said, big up to you both. If Ange wins the Europa League and gets a top half finish, would that have exceeded your expectations before the season started? Stelios.
If Ange wins any trophy, that exceeds my expectations. Just that alone. The league don't matter. If we win a trophy under Ange, that would exceed my expectations. But we're not going to win a trophy. Ange isn't winning nothing. I've been saying it for 6 months, and I continue to say it. Ange is not going to win the Europa. Not a chance in hell.
Yeah, look, I for me, listen, he would have exceeded my expectations by winning a trophy, but top half, finishing 10th in the table doesn't exceed my expectations. I'm going to be held to the standards that all of the fans in the fan base held me to at the beginning of the summer, right? Which is, Savva, you don't understand Ange. In his second year, we'll be second, third, fourth, whatever it is. We're going to challenge. So yes and no is the question I'll answer. And yeah, pro WWE, we do want 17K. We're 185 away from the 17K. So if anyone would subscribe, that'd be great. And thank you to anybody who has smashed the like button. We're still not at 200 yet. You lot have been really, really tight today. We've got a super chat here from Craig Lee. Big up, Craig, who is a Newcastle United fan. See him floating around. He's always been good to me in here. Said big up to the Football Heritage TV community. Thoughts on the final? Still, obviously, Newcastle United versus Liverpool on Sunday. Are you like me? Do you hope Newcastle? I'm not just saying it because Craig's here. I said this last night. I really want Newcastle to win it. I want someone other than Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal, United to win trophies. What are your thoughts on the final?
I really, really, really hope Newcastle win it, because it's just nice to see different clubs win it. Also, I think Eddie Howe, having not been given any new signings this summer, deserves a trophy just to keep Newcastle in the hunt when, they're not investing in the team. Also, do you know what? It'd be a big fuck you to Daniel Levy, another club smaller than us with less money winning trophies. It'll just... If Liverpool win it, it's just same old, same old. If Liverpool do win it, I won't be upset because I like Arne Slot. I wanted Arne Slot at Spurs. I told everyone I think Arne Slot suits us perfectly. But Liverpool will probably win it, heritage and all that. And just Arne Slot has won trophies. He knows how to get it over the line. But it would be absolutely fantastic if Newcastle won it. I think players like Isak, Guimaraes, Tonali, Gordon, Harvey Barnes, they deserve some silverware, man. They do. They do. They deserve some silverware. So if they do it, it'll be... I hope Newcastle win it.
Yeah. Look, I hope they do as well. Look, I guess what's going for Newcastle is Liverpool have just had a grueling 120 minutes against PSG. I've said this all season. I don't think, when I watch Liverpool a lot of the time, I don't think they're special. Listen, I think they've done really well in the Premier League. Of course, they're running away with it. But I don't watch them and think, wow, this is a great team. And to go back to your point earlier, Stel, I think the key factor here is going to be that midfield three of Joe Linton, Guimaraes, and why am I missing one? And Tonali. I think if they can boss that midfield, I think they're going to do well. But no Anthony Gordon, but they've got Isak. So I'm looking forward to it, actually. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good game.
Yeah, it will be a good game. Both teams will want to win it as well. Eddie Howe, listen, he lost the cup final. Was it last year, the year before, to Man United, I think? Was it?
Yes.
He lost it.
Correct.
So he's been there before. He knows what it looks like. He knows what it feels like. And the fact he keeps getting there, that's how you get it over the line. You've got to keep knocking on the door. Klopp, when he went to Liverpool, he got to final after final after final. Then he won everything. So who knows? Who knows? It'll be nice if Liverpool win the league, so the scum don't win it, which they won't. They've bottled it again. Arsenal have absolutely bottled it. Liverpool win the league. If Newcastle win the FA Cup, that'll be nice. And then, the Carabao Cup. And then the FA Cup, if we get a Brighton or a Fulham or a Nottingham Forest winning it, it'll be just fantastic. It'll be great for football. Football needs it. I'm sick of the same teams winning trophies. When we were growing up, there's always a little surprise. Someone that shouldn't win it did it. So, yeah.
Look, by the way, no politics in the chat, please. I don't want politics of where clubs owners are from. We're talking football on this channel. We talk football. We're going to go for another 7 or 8 minutes, as long as you're okay for time still.
Yeah.
Good. So if we, where are we? I just saw, I just want to point this out. This wasn't a question, but Cal, this isn't strictly true. This isn't strictly true. Again, I think there's a lot of revisionism when people look back on Poch's time at Chelsea. When you're saying Poch was not good, not anymore, he made players worse at Chelsea. Who did he make worse? Because from game 10 to game 38, they were the third best team in the country, points-wise. So only 2 clubs over the last 28 games of the season had more points than Chelsea. So, yes, they started really, really badly, but I don't really think this is true that he made players worse. I just feel like it's an easy thing to throw at him. Anyway, I wasn't going to bring that up. Glenn Hoddle, 11. God, what I would give to have Glenn Hoddle in this team. Can you imagine? He'd have Glenn Hoddle as some sort of inverted winger or something. I don't know. Question: what do you make of Ange confronting the fans? I think the club should have disciplined him. I cannot stand this manager. I'll add on to that still. He's confronted fans. He's confronted fans down the tunnel. He's confronted fans in the stand. He's called us out, the fan base, a few times in different press conferences. And yet he's still absolutely loved. What do you make of all this?
I don't listen to him when he speaks. I don't listen to his press conferences. I don't listen to what he says before games. I have no interest in. I always used to listen to press conferences. I switched off after the Brighton game where we lost 3-2, and he said, "I didn't make any subs because we didn't deserve to win." I thought, "Well, fuck you. I ain't listening to anything you say again." And before that game, he said, when he was asked, "You and Brighton both play for high line. How are you going to counter it?" He said, "I'm not. Let's just entertain the fans." Listen, stuff like that, I can't listen to managers when they talk like that. I just can't listen. So I don't listen to him anymore. If there's like a really big talking point that's bouncing around all the WhatsApp groups, I'll have a little look. Okay, so I do have a look once in a while, but it's got to be a big talking point. But stuff like that, honestly, I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth half the time. So I'm like, what's the point of listening to what you have to say? You talk. You might talk some good things, but you talk shit things as well. And I can't be bothered to decide whether you mean it, you don't mean it. You know, is it real? Is it fake? I can't. Savva, I don't watch press conferences anymore. I just don't do it.
Mate, I agree with you. Do you know what? If I'm normally when I'm doing some admin and stuff on YouTube, so I know people don't think there is any admin that goes into it, but there's a lot of setting stuff up. And when I'm doing that, I've normally got Sky Sports News on mute in the background. If that had been any other manager, I'd see, oh, Spurs manager speaking. I'll see what he's saying. With that, yeah. I just can't now. He doesn't represent me as a fan. Blaming us for the Man City game last year, and this year he's talked about the atmosphere in the stadium. Well, mate, listen, if you don't win games of football at your home stadium, fans aren't going to get on board with you. It's pretty much the basics of football. So, yeah, look, we'll get a few more questions in. Let's get a couple more in. This one's quite interesting. I'm not going to answer any more on Ange, if I'm honest. I'm not going to answer that one. Here we go. Maybe you thought I've had a feeling someone to do with the club and watch your channel. Have you thought or had a feelings? Evening, guys. Hope you're well. Question: have either of you ever thought or had a feeling someone to do with a club of what's just? Sorry, I'm reading that all wrong. Right. Have you ever had a feeling that somebody from the club has ever watched our content?
I know they do. They do because last season or the season before, I was walking to the Antwerp Arms pub before kickoff, and I bumped into someone I hadn't seen in a while. And I said hello, and they were with someone from the trust. And the person I knew introduced me to the person from the trust. And when I reached my hand out to shake their hands to say, "Hi, I'm Stelios," they said to me, "Yeah, I know who you are." I said, "Oh." I go, "Yeah." And we spoke. I ain't going to share with you what we said, but clearly they watch, because there's things that were said you would only know if you watch, or someone's clipped me and put it in their WhatsApp group. So I also know that the club have got a media department that is an extension to the Academy Training Centre, and they do monitor what is being said. They might not watch the whole show, but certainly there are people that, have you heard what a lot of fans are saying about us? It's on this channel, that. So they do watch us. They do. Whether they pay attention to it or not is a different story, but they do. And you'd be crazy not to. The way football is now, with social media being such a big part of the club culture, you've got the biggest YouTubers are all on Sky Sports now, or on Talk Sport as regular panel and hosts. So they definitely follow social media. Otherwise, how would they know who to pick to bring on these shows, right? So 100% they listen to us. How often and how much they actually care, I don't know. But I know they watch. I know they do. Especially the bigger your channel, the more likely they're going to watch.
Do you know what? I was provisionally invited by somebody to one of those Q&A events at Spurs with Levy and co. And then it got retracted because of my opinions. Just so you know. So make of that what you will. It was an open forum where you could ask a question. So essentially, if I had gone there and said, "Sorry, Levy, could you please talk about your promise to, build a game-changing stadium, and yet we're signing 18-year-old kids every summer, they wouldn't have allowed me to ask that question because it doesn't fit in with the narrative. So
right. So
yeah,
we try to. Do you remember that fan advisory board?
Yes.
Right. We ran an experiment. So amongst us, we got together privately and we said, let's all apply. This is all the Levy out. Let's all apply, but one of us apply, but delete all the Levy out stuff. Don't have any trace of Levy out. Let's see what happens. We all got rejected instantly. Sorry, thousands have applied. You didn't make the list. And the one guy in the group was then asked to go to round 2. And I just said to myself, bollocks.
Yeah.
Absolute bollocks. Talk about controlling what type of fans you want to ask the questions. Jesus Christ, man. It's all rigged. The whole thing's rigged.
It is. I mean, you look. I mean, even I'll call it now. Like even when you look at
it's cherry picked.
Look at TalkSport. TalkSport have got their new channel, haven't they? With big up Abby Summers. I've got no problem with Abby Summers, by the way. But they've got the channel with Abby Summers. Every guest she has on as a Tottenham fan has the same view. There's never anyone on there challenging status quo. There's no one on there. Like there's no Stel, there's no Savva, there's no Danny. Do you know what I mean? There's no one on there that would say
no Maz, no Iggy, no Mari, no Brian Daigle, no Ryan Isaacs, no Lubo, no nothing. It's just
there's no
be
one.
Positive, be optimistic, play the I'm balanced game, context, all that nonsense, right?
Yeah.
No one goes on there with a solid opinion and says, listen, I disagree with you all, and this is why. And let me show you some data, or let me show you some 10-year patterns, because I don't understand what any of you have just said. Please tell me where I'm wrong. You'll never, ever get that. You will never, ever get that on those channels because it's not safe.
But by the way, I'm not knocking Abby. Abby's done brilliantly in terms of
she's the host.
I'm not knocking Abby before everybody says that. What I'm talking about is the guests that they get on that show. I've not seen anyone yet where I go, this should be a good watch. What I see is, it's okay. I know your opinion is this. Basically, do you know what it is? All the people that go on there are all the ones, right? It's the same as the overlap. All the people this isn't just about Abby's show. These are all the people that go on TalkSport, the overlap, Sky, whatever it is. They're all the ones who made all the videos in the summer going, I think we're going to finish 3rd. Spurs could challenge. Spurs had a brilliant window. It's all the ones.
It's the ones who make a video that gets 15,000 views in January. This is why Matthias Tell perfectly fits Spurs.
Right.
And then 6 weeks later, when does this fit actually begin? Like when do we see this fit? They're the ones that get blood on. If I went on there and I said signing. If I did a video in January saying Matthias Tell is a stupid signing, we've got Lancashire, we've got Scarlett. What has Tell done to justify a £10 million loan? This is absurd. If I made that video, I'm going on the blacklist. Never contact that guy to come on the show. Right? I'm on the watch list.
Mate, listen, I've got nothing against it, but TalkSport do it, Sky Sports do it, The Athletic do it. All of these groups do it. We will end the show in 1 minute. All of these groups do it. There's no one. I'm not saying it has to be me. It doesn't have to be me at all. But I want to see the video thumbnail, and I want to go, this will be interesting. Do you know what I mean? I want to go, this will be interesting because this person has got a different. We don't have it.
Listen, Savva, even people that are considered a bit more. What's the word? A bit more accepted, right? More accepted, such as Johnny, Patrick, who you see on The Last Word on Spurs, right? They don't even go on. And they agree with a lot of what we say, those two, by the way. A lot of the things they say actually fits in line with what we say. Not everything, but
they wouldn't say it outright on a show. They don't go, you need someone who
But at least they would challenge it, right?
Sure.
At least Patrick would challenge it to some extent. Even he's not on there. So it's literally like you must be happy, clappy, wishy-washy, balanced. And I just feel it does an injustice to the fan base because it's not truly representing what Spurs fans are, because Spurs fans are divided. And if you don't show both sides of the divide, then what are you representing? You're representing what you want people to think is going on, and that's the bit that is it's biased. It's biased content that's being created, but people watch it. People watch it. People love it. So that's why they do it.
People want to watch positive stuff. I get it, but what I want to see on one of these shows, I want to watch someone where I go, this will be a debate. Not stupid. Like I watched again, nothing against him. I don't know him, by the way. Nothing against him. But I watched a clip came out this morning. It was Abby. She had Basong, the ex-Spurs player, on, and Sonny talk Spurs. And I've got nothing against Sonny. Seems like a really nice lad. But they're all sitting there going, "Yeah, I think Spurs could get 6th to 8th." And I'm sitting there thinking, "Hang on, how is no one going? Whoa, look at the mess we're in." Like Sonny said, "Oh, there's a lot of winnable games in the last 10," and I'm looking at the last 10, going, "What?" I'm like, right, I'm going, "What?"
So the thing with Sonny, the thing with Sonny is he bought an Ange Postecoglou t-shirt, so that's fine. Have Sonny on the panel. There's your Ange in. Now, can we have someone with an Ange out t-shirt on the panel as well? Let's have a chat. But it won't. That's the bit they're lacking. It's very one-sided. Sonny's allowed to be an Ange supporter, and by the way, Sonny said we might get top 4. Now it's top 8. So
I've got nothing against Sonny, by the way.
Yeah. Listen,
he's a lovely guy. All I'm saying is,
Savva, he's not controversial. He doesn't call people out. No. I've got nothing wrong with Sonny either. Sonny is one of the only Anginners that came on my show for a debate. He's one of the only, so I've got respect for him. But the question here is, on those types of shows, for every Sonny, you've got to have the opposite as well. There's got to be the yin and yang. There's got to be a bit of balance. But that's what's lacking. It doesn't exist. Not in those big primetime or so-called popular branded shows.
Yeah, look, we are going to end the show now, but look, I agree. Like I just want to, when I go on Sky Sports and see, oh, we've got so-and-so from this podcast or this YouTube channel, I want it at some point to be someone that turns around when they go, so what's happened with Ange? I want someone to turn around and go, well, to be brutally honest with you, it's been shambolic. Here's some stats. Here's some facts. It's been dreadful. What we get is, it's been tough and we've had an injury. It's like, can we get somebody that challenges? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there.
Savva, do you know what? Very quickly,
This person, sorry, really quickly, this person, top player. Listen, dude, relax. I know you're talking about my Conte stance. If anybody wanted to know, right, Stel will back me up on this. Stel and I argued like cats and dogs about Conte. But Stel, my main reasoning behind Conte was I said he should never have been there because he is a winner right now and it was never going to work at Tottenham. Forget what I like or don't like as a football. Antonio Conte was never going to work at Tottenham because he's a winner. Ange Postecoglou is not Ange Postecoglou. Daniel Levy was never going to give the man what he needed. So when you keep saying, why didn't I want him here? Conte didn't want to be here after a year. Look at his body language. Look at his interviews. That man did not want to be here. So can we stop having the whole, Savva didn't like Conte? It's a long time ago.
By the way, that comment, wanting every manager sacked, none of us wanted Mourinho sacked 5 days before a cup final. Not a single one of us wanted that. Nobody.
Sacked at all.
So your comment is a little bit misconstrued. You need to change the wording there. Look, I'll repeat what I said at the start of the show, because if whoever put that comment up, maybe you missed the start of the show. I don't like it when fans say you can't keep sacking managers. You can if you don't hire the right manager. You can't keep sacking the wrong managers. Sorry, you can't keep sacking the right managers. And what we've done at Spurs is we've sacked managers we shouldn't have sacked. And now we've brought in a one-trick, unproven pony. We're saying, stick with it. No, because, you can't keep changing managers, but you can't keep the wrong one in place. And Ange is, as far as I'm concerned, and more fans are jumping on the bandwagon now, He's not the right guy. Do you know, where I sit in the terraces, and I don't go Spurs often, so I don't know what the mood's like half the time. But when I was there on Sunday, I have never heard more fans around me. And I live in a place where if you were to stand up and go, Anjat, leave you out, you're going to get a response, right? So many of them were saying, he's got to go. This manager, we can't stick with him. They're saying it now. So it's not about backing the manager. It's about backing the right manager and giving that manager time. Guys, where's the progress? Where is the progress with Ange? Where is the progress?
That's it. Exactly. Exactly. Look, we'll leave it there. That's the last thing I'll say is this. Absolutely. This notion that you can't just keep sacking managers. Companies are built on sacking people that don't perform, not just football. Every company sacks people who don't perform. That's life, right? How many of you can not do your job properly for 2, 3, 4 months and you go, yeah, don't worry, we'll just keep paying them. Anyway, and by the way, this notion culture, not you, but this notion when people keep saying, oh, but it's attacking football. We do not play attacking football. Anyway, Aris, big up to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thank you to Craig Lee for his super chat. Thank you for everybody that has liked and has subscribed during this show. Big up to you. Really appreciate that. Please get over to Stel and subscribe to him as well. What I will say is just 2 pleases from me. This first link that I'm going to put in, if you haven't subscribed to my second YouTube channel, then please do. Please do. It is this one, which says FHTV Plus. Please do. We're about 110, 115 away from the magical 1,000 in a month. So that would be amazing. There's the link. And if anyone wants to, at 10 to 8 tonight, I will be doing Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid on Big Up. So if you want to come over there and watch that, that would be absolutely amazing. And there is the link for that one. Okay, so there is a link for that. If anyone would be so kind on their way out right now to just go over here, smash the subscribe button, it would be appreciated. Stel, thank you so much. Always enjoy these. It's a good bit of Spurs therapy.
Yeah, good couple of hours. Listen, I've got to go. I'm already late, but listen, everyone in the chat, thanks for being here, Savva. Thanks for having me on. And up the Spurs. Pray to God we don't lose. If we lose on Thursday, just shut the club down. Shut it down.
Yeah, big up to you. Thanks, Stel. Right, Stel, you bugger off. Guys, girls, as I said, I'm going to put this in. Please, 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 this link. Please, please, please. If you get over there, there's 390 of you in here. If 100 of you haven't, please get over there. Help me get to that 1K. That would be absolutely amazing. There it is, FHTV Plus. I'll see any of you at 10 to 8, and hopefully we'll have a cracking game. Alex, like we did last night, right? We'll have a cracking game tonight like we did last night. See you later. Thank you for the 4 people that have gone over to the second channel. Everyone else, please do. Take care. Much love. And as always, come on, you Spurs.